The other one being advertisement, which we'll get into that later when we cover the privacy section. But first of all, you have to understand that the lifespan of these newer vehicles is basically no more than 5 years, approximately 5 years. If you're lucky, you'll get 7. And but really, what kills these vehicles though are their batteries. The batteries are absolutely garbage, and it's not like good battery technology doesn't exist. It does exist. They do actually perfect it. It's simply that there's no money to be made by offering the consumer long-lasting batteries in these cars. Okay, there's no money in that for the manufacturers, so why bother? You have to understand that these vehicles will be considered disposable, just like pretty much disposable. They will be all made in the Mexican plants, some of them in China, anywhere but the United States. The parts will be made in Mexico. The assembly will be done in Mexico. In fact, by this time in the future, there won't be any auto manufacturing left in the United States. That is. It's all going to be sourced out, pretty much. But yeah, these vehicles, when the technology becomes perfected, will come down drastically in price. It's hard to believe that now, but when driverless cars first hit the market, obviously it's going to be high, but those prices are going to come down rather quickly when we start mass producing them because of their disposable nature, and they'll definitely plummet like a rock. Not only will the parts be cheaply made, but the car's design will eventually be dumbed down to the point where it's basically going to get to the point where it seems like every car will look the same year after year. Okay, I want to frame this whole maintenance issue. I need to frame it in a certain way so that you know where I'm coming from. Basically, currently in America, auto dealerships are set up and run a certain way to do big business. They take their sales seriously, and they make their money off of not only the sales of pre-owned and new and pre-owned cars, but also parts, service, and pretty much there's a way of salespersons deal with customers, and when they ask about warranties and the way they deal with warranties and all that, it's just done a certain way. There's a certain way to sell these vehicles to yield the most profit for them, the dealership. They got a whole system down, and they pretty much got it all dialed in. Well, in the future, with these driverless vehicles, that whole business model is going to be shaken up. What's going to happen is that ride sharing is going to be a very big thing. And ride sharing is going to be a very big thing. And because of that, people aren't going to be buying new cars as much anymore. In fact, used cars as well. More people are going to be mobile than ever before, but that increased mobility will not translate into automotive sales. Now, the car buying experience will completely be turned up on its ass in the future. First of all, they're not selling anything, and so prices as well as inventories have drastically plummeted. Second of all, the perception of the automobile in America has changed drastically by this point. The vehicles are considered to be more utilitarian than ever before. Buying a car in the future will be sort of similar to buying a piece of Tupperware or a Tupperware container at Walmart. You pretty much know what to expect before you even walk into the store. And although you haven't really seen the product yet, you're fairly certain that there hasn't been any new radical, revolutionary technological changes that have been made or introduced since the last time you purchased a Tupperware container. what's going to happen is that these dealerships are going to expand big time. It's not just going to be cars on a lot, cars on a showroom, a garage, this typical stuff. They're going to expand to include restaurants, sports bars, arcades, miniature golf courses, coffee shops. And what the dealerships basically want you to do is, not just come in and look at the cars. They want you to come in and, hang out, stay a while. Where you go? What's the rush? Hang out, man. Basically, these dealerships are pretty much what they do is they take the space that was once reserved for their booming inventory and pretty much convert it into retail outlets, all kinds of other stuff. So kids can go and play in the bounce house. A woman can go to the spa, or something like that. And, dudes can do, whatever it is dudes do. But yeah, the whole idea is don't come here just to buy a car, man. Come here for the experience. That's what they're trying to sell. I know it sounds bizarre, but there's a method to their madness, and I'm getting to that here. Okay, one of the reasons auto dealerships pretty much change their business model this way is because they're not selling any vehicles. But another reason is because when you buy a driverless car, you soon realize that you are now seeing more and more of your dealership than ever before. And allow me to explain. The way these vehicles are manufactured in the future are just a disaster. It's an absolute maintenance nightmare, pretty much. And the reason why these vehicles are a maintenance nightmare is that every single component is connected somehow to the vehicle's central computer. All of the components in your vehicle, regardless of how insignificant they may be, must remain in the same condition as they were when you first purchased the vehicle. They cannot be removed. They cannot be altered in any way. Everything, and I do mean everything, on your car is being monitored by the car's computer. Okay? So that in the event that said component malfunctions, the car can immediately alert you. Allow me to give you a quick example here of what I mean. Let's say you have a cup holder in your vehicle. In the future, cup holders, like many other things in your car, they'll be held in place by these magnetic pegs. Okay, these pegs, they're roughly about 3/8 of an inch in length and about 1/4 inch in diameter. Basically, they are mating male-female parts in both respective parts both parts basically, inside both parts basically, is, at the center, is a 1/8 of an inch recessed cavity. And inside that cavity is an electronic sensor. These sensors, basically on these magnetic pegs, these sensors must remain in contact with each other while the ignition is engaged. If for any reason they break contact, the computer throws an error code which must be cleared by the dealership. Now, back to the cup holder here. Let's say you're in your car and you decide to get super-sized Coca-Cola drink, and you try to fit this big old drink in the cup holder. But the problem is it exceeds the weight capacity of the whole thing, and the whole damn cup holder just collapses. About a minute and a half later, a low priority service warning appears on the computer screen that says your car has an important maintenance issue that needs to be addressed and that you have 5 days to report to the dealership. Well, 4 days comes and goes, and on the 5th day, you're getting ready to go to work. You get up early in the morning, just like you always do. You get ready, You get into your car. All of your routes are preset at this point. You just hit a number. You hit number 2, and you go right to your work. The only problem is, however, is that your vehicle starts up, but it's not going to your work. Instead, it is going somewhere else. You get a little bit nervous here. You check the screen, you hit the preset button again, you scroll through the map display to see the current route, and sure enough, it is not showing you going to work. You hit it again, and the map to your work displays, so you say, okay, well, maybe I made a mistake. There we go. That should fix it. And no, your car is not turning around. It's not stopping, at all. In fact, it's continuing to drive here. Not quite sure what's going on here. So you get a little bit nervous. You get on the phone at the same time you use the in-car phone and dial out, and you just talk into the air, basically. You're trying to get anyone to listen at this point. You call your husband, your wife, they don't know what's going on. They have no idea what's up. They're online, they can't figure out what's happening or where you're going, and so people are getting nervous here. All of a sudden, beep, the car's computer display reads System Override, Immediate Service Attention Required, en route to dealership. And the address of said dealership is posted right on the screen there. So you're headed to the dealership. You don't know why, but you get a little bit concerned. If your car has issues, you definitely want to get that checked out. So you feel a little bit more better knowing that your vehicle is thinking and acting on your behalf. That's great. So you get to the dealership, and there's a dealer at the front gate. By the way, these dealerships now in the future have greeters at the front door. They just pretty much stand there and wave to you all the time. That's all their job is, basically, just to wave at you. That sort of diffuses any tense situations, de-escalates, I should say, any situations, possibly tense situations. So the guy waves and you wave back. You drive up to the service manager. He comes out with a special scan tool on his hand. He already knows the score, basically. He knows certified technician required for this job. He's just clearing codes. So he plugs it into the vehicle's computer port, scans it, and it turns out that there is a code on the system's computer that merely needs to be erased. That's all. There is nothing wrong with this vehicle. Apparently, there was a cup holder that was removed while the car was running. Is that true, man? Yeah, I put it back. What? I put it back? It's fixed. Yes, it is fixed, ma'am. But it did produce an error code, and that's why it needs to be cleared, and that's why you're here, ma'am. What? Dude, it's just a cup holder. What the fuck? Yeah, no, all error codes, regardless of what they are, do need to be cleared by our technician staff. That'll be $50. Pay at the window and have a nice day. What? This is some Mickey Mouse bullshit. Let me tell you, this is some Mickey Mouse bullshit. And so there you have it, and it just goes on like that. Every insignificant piece of trim, panel, cup holder, whatever. There are magnetic pegs with sensors connecting them to the computer. It's not like the olden days where you had plastic clips or anything like that. Everything is connected and monitored by one central computer location. Now, if you thought that little experience was bad, let me take you through a hypothetical scenario on what one might expect to encounter when trying to change a flat tire.